Gators and Mussolini, Hannibal James in this party. Red land, the red tsunami, red creeks and red Ferrari, red clay for your bodies, medical and ex body. Yeah, bless. They call me Mr. Manifest. You fellas screaming out the chest. I got this technique best. I found my destination to a red light. Rock your soul to the daylight. Hot jump going crazy, right? Nazi going crazy, right? Up, man, fight. I'm purple hazy through the night. I'm speaking chili out of spite. I'm making sushi for the slice. I'm speaking Alabama cream. I'm chopping corn through the streets. I rock that rage on the tape. Koozie King is outrageous. Koozie. I'm talking, they call me Nico Tussanui. On the flame like a dude. In the fields of the core. And I got something funny. Good evening, everyone. My name's Donnie Glover. Tonight on Remember Who You Are, Indigenous series. Join us for what we hope to be another powerful evening. We're going to take a critical examination, a critical look, if you will, at the complex chapter in American history as a genealogical researcher of our own. Our resident researcher, Hannibal James, leads an in-depth discussion on the role of the Chickasaw and Choctaw nations as slave catchers during the era of slavery. This episode explores the often overlooked alliances and economic pressures that shaped indigenous involvement in the institution of slavery, revealing uncomfortable truths about how colonialism and white supremacy pitted communities of color against each other. Hannibal James brings his extensive research and expertise to unpack this difficult history, examining the political, economic, and social forces that influence these tribal nations' participation in slave catching. So this is, again, a part of the Remember Who You Are Indigenous series. Before we bring up our resident panelists, I wanted to share some of the comments from the last show. This is from our NASA. Walking the red road means living a life of respect for nature, prayer and ceremony, sobriety, especially in recovery contexts, honoring ancestors and spiritual obligations, community service, and humility. We thank you for your comments, our NASA. Our table 2017, just as some of our ancestors didn't get to see the results of their future generations, we must continue to learn, teach, and build. Shirley Baker, 1096. Salute family, HRPO NC. Nation time, hashtag for us, by us, hashtag indigenous unity, hashtag Afro-descendant unity, hashtag Jim Crow South Survivor 63, hashtag Alabama, hashtag Evergreen. Brother Planet said it perfectly, our table. And this is from Yante Richardson, 3453. I applaud you for sharing this information. Firebird, Gray Wolf. These tribes had freedmen and slaves. Firebird, Gray Wolf also wrote, why is she switching body? Okay. So these are just some of the words. And let's see who's on cue. Hannibal, you there?
Hey, what up, though, Donnie?
What up, though, Hannibal?
Well, I'm chilling. Ain't nothing much, Donnie. So how was your
All
day
right.
today?
You got it cranking last show. What made you what made you pick these topics?
In order to understand the past, we must understand like what happened. And I think that a lot of us got some open gaps in between history because the things we taught in school and what's missing is the indigenous part. So I just want to fill in some blanks and how some of the indigenous tribes played into the roles of the slavery of African Americans, or so-called us, and a lot of us has been reclassified because of these certain tribes that did these certain things. So I wanted to just shed some light on some things that I've found out over the years.
So we have talked on this show, for one, about the Racial Integrity Act, what America did to our ancestors. This is what other indigenous tribes did to our ancestors.
Right. So what we got to realize, it was like even with these indigenous tribes, it was like a confederation with the Europeans or the settlers, because it wasn't just European settlers. It was Moorish settlers, Islamic settlers. It was Quakers. It was all types of people, Huguenots. You know, it was all types of people coming here and settling in this place. But along the way, I just wanted to right now.
We got to digest that for a bit. It wasn't the America that it is today. Today, no. Everything is through Eurocentric or white American eyes. The media, education, the media, indoctrination, all of that had church, religion. So much is through non-black eyes, non-melanated eyes.
Right.
So much of we grow up believing. I mean, I had to look around during Christmas to see who's got up Christmas trees, who's got up lights.
Right.
Is that still a practice? And a lot of times we do it because that's what we grew up seeing. Right. But some, actually many have asked, have questioned why. Why am I putting up a dead tree?
I think a lot of people hold on to traditions that they know. Like you said, they grew up doing these things. So I really don't get into those type of things. I just try to shed light on some things that people might not heard about. Like a lot of people, I know a lot of people, they talk about, well, I'm Cherokee, or I'm Choctaw, or I'm Chickasaw, Muskogee, or Seminole, but they don't know what that entails. So tonight I want to talk about, like, after the Trail of Tears. That last episode we was talking about the Trail of Tears, the Muskogee, Cherokees, and then walking out to Oklahoma, right? So this episode I want to shed light on, like, those quote unquote African Americans or black or freedmen that was out there with them. So in the year, I want to start off like the year 1842, and it was a Cherokee slave revolt. And this slave revolt happened on the plantation of a guy named Joseph Rich Joe Van. They called him Rich Joe, but his name was Joseph Van. And 25 slaves, they got the slave, the overseers and everybody, they gathered them, locked them up, and they took some supplies and they started heading towards Oklahoma, towards Mexico from Oklahoma. So Rich Joe Van at that time, he, with the Cherokee Council, they started a national police where it was a light horse regiment to catch these runaways. And they hired between 85 and 100 people to go find these runaways. But along the way, these runaways, these 25 Cherokees met up with like 17, I believe, Muskogee runaways and a couple handful of Chickasaw and Choctaw runaways as well. So the Cherokee hired this guy named Captain Drew, and Captain Drew was hired to go track down these runaways, and he caught them. He caught them at a river junction. And let me take a look at where he found them at. Well, they came from Weber's Fall, and that was where the plantation was. And he caught up with them at a river junction, but I didn't write that down, but I'll get back with you. I put it in the comments. But they made an example of a lot of these runaways. They killed a lot of them, you know what I'm saying, for the other ones to not run away. So in essence, the Cherokee and these 5 civilized tribes, after signing a treaty, it was like a buffer zone between the plantations, the Indian territories, and other plantations. So in order for runaways not to run away, the natives made an agreement that they would catch them, or the indigenous groups said they would catch these people. And that's what happened. So this happened in 1842, and it's called the Cherokee Slave Revolt in the Cherokee Nation. It happened November 28th, 1842 is when they got caught.
Let me see if I can get you some imagery up here.
But if anybody know anything about the Van family, this is a prominent Cherokee family, a mixed family. I don't know, really nobody really know their origins. If you really try to find out the first Van to come, but you can't really find that out. But you know that they was in, I believe, Murray, Georgia, and his name was Joseph Van or James Van. James Springsteen Van was one of them as well, and he had a plantation down there, and he had a lot of slaves. He had steamboats, he had taverns, all this along the federal road that I mentioned before. That part of the federal road was made where we was at, going from Washington D.C. to Louisiana. So along this road, they made taverns, hotels, and stuff like that. Things you got now on the main roads, like places to go sleep, places to entertain, places to eat. You get what I mean? So the same thing we doing now, they was doing back then.
Oh, I got a picture for you.
Okay. What you got there?
Cherokee Nation, 1842 slave revolt.
Okay.
And of course, Horace don't like the word slave, so uprising.
But I believe that when you say these things, we know what we're talking about. I think it's more getting into our own personal feelings about this.
Yeah, we do.
We know what we're getting at. But but when we don't say it in a reference to the indigenous, we kind of get the indigenous tribes that played a part. Get them means to be out of it. You get what I mean? Ain't no one ever said, hey, why don't you guys pay reparations for what you did? You get what I mean? A lot of us think it was the European that enslaved us, and some of us were enslaved by these same people, like the Van family, or you know what I'm saying, or what's the Perryman family. What else? Who else? McIntoshes, the McGilverys, you get what I mean? The Weatherfords, you get what I mean? All these was prominent native families that owned slaves, or African slaves, or other native slaves that was from other tribes and later called Negro. You get what I mean? So I think this is important right here to understand what we was dealing with. And not the entire tribe was really what they was doing. You get what I mean? So this is a picture from the slave revolt of 1842?
Yes, sir.
But you see how imagery is done to show you that, okay, these are just Africans, but the Cherokee and these slave owners were capturing tribes that wasn't with the amalgamation into this society or becoming civilized. Being civilized was being a planter or a settler or having these European ways or upholding these laws of your contemporaries or the people that you're doing business with. Stop.
So here I have for you the 18. How you doing, Planet?
Good, good. Good to see
The
you.
1842 slave revolt in the Cherokee Nation was the largest slave rebellion in Indian territory. So this is out there around Oklahoma, right?
That's correct. So that's after.
We're over 24 enslaved people, primarily from the Joseph Ann plantation at Webbers Fall, revolted on November the 15th, 1842. Yay! Aiming to escape to Mexico for freedom. I told you John Horse went to Mexico.
Wow.
And that was 1843 when he first went out there to Indian territory.
Because
for Black Wall Street.
Because there's a Cherokee Nation in Mexico. You know, a lot of people don't know that the Cherokee Nation in Mexico will allow you to be in the nation there. So you got a Cherokee Nation in Oklahoma, you got a Cherokee Nation in Mexico, and you got a Cherokee Nation back east in North Carolina. So you got the eastern
supplies and
go ahead.
They stole supplies and were joined by enslaved people from the Creek Nation, leading to armed clashes with the Cherokee Creek pursuers, resulting in deaths and captures, though many escaped initially, influencing stricter slave codes and freedmen expulsion afterwards.
Yeah, so that was the main thing. Like we talked about, okay, recently that the freedmen in the Creek Nation got their citizenship. So after they ran away in 1842, they made it to where the freedmen couldn't be in the nation no more. You know, that was before this 1866 treaty that I'm against. You know what I'm saying? Because that one basically writes the ones that basically adhered to the rules, or the ones that was leading these nations wanted to be recognized. So that's my issue with the whole thing, that it don't recognize those who were left behind, those who were still fighting for their freedom out there. You get what I mean? So we're talking about 200 years, 175 years, you know what I'm saying, since these events, or 100 and what, 74, something like that, 84.
I got something for you.
Photo there, image, I mean.
I got something for you. Hold tight. Planet, how you living?
Good, good. Blessed. Yeah.
Yes, we are.
Everybody good?
To the people in the chat. This is about the slave revolt.
Right.
Also, when you have the term civilized tribe, right? That is an indication that was
American
promoted
expansion.
by someone
One
who
such
was not
adoption was the practice
civilized.
of chattel slavery.
Hold
In
up,
this
Planet.
Cherokee Almanac, we look back on an uncomfortable part of Cherokee history, the Cherokee Slave Revolt.
Slavery in the U.S. and in the Cherokee Nation was not practiced by most, but it's still part of all our history. It's something that none of us are proud of, and you know, it's a little known fact that the Indian nations participated in this, but it is important that we know they're part of history.
By the early 19th century, most Cherokee hunting grounds had been invaded by or ceded to white settlers. The United States was actively enforcing a civilization policy toward Native Americans designed to erode traditional Cherokee social structures. As some Cherokees assimilated to Eurocentric views of agriculture for profit, some also began to implement the so-called civilized practice of chattel slavery. By 1835, nearly 1,600 people were enslaved by Cherokees.
The Cherokee Nation, it was actually 8% of the people that owned slaves. And 50% of those slaves were owned by 3 different owners, the main one being Joe Van.
Rich Joe, like his father, was a very shrewd merchant, and he became the wealthiest man in the Cherokee Nation.
Joseph Van, or Rich Joe Van as he was known, was forced from his home in Georgia in 1837, 1 year before Cherokee removal. Van traveled from the old Cherokee Nation by steamboat on the Arkansas River, finally settling in Indian Territory near Weber's Falls.
When he landed here, he had 2 steamboats, 2 wives, 150 slaves, and the fastest quarter horse in the world. He and Chief Ross, his brother, grew cotton crops, and they put the cotton on steamboats and took it back east to sell it.
Once established in Indian Territory, Joseph Van's business operations continued with relatively few obstacles, until one night. At 4 a.m. on November 15, 1842, a faction of people enslaved by Rich Joe Van barricaded the doors to the Van home, trapping those inside. The group took guns, ammunition, food, mules, and horses, including Rich Joe Van's prized racehorse.
The plan was to go to Mexico, where slavery was illegal. They then robbed a local store to get more supplies, and approximately 25 slaves took off and headed towards the Creek Nation.
In the Creek Nation, more enslaved people joined the revolt, raising the group's total number to more than 35. As the group continued southwest, they were pursued by a Cherokee and Creek search party. Eventually, the 2 groups collided near the southern border of the Creek Nation along the Canadian River.
The escaping slaves had a battle by the Canadian River where they disbanded the spot and forced the Cherokee and Creek party to retreat. In doing so, they lost 12 slaves that were captured and 2 were killed.
Following the battle, those remaining continued on their path to Mexico when they encountered yet another obstacle. 2 slave hunters who had captured 8 escapees from the Choctaw Nation, 5 of which were children.
And when they came across those slave hunters, they ended up killing them and freeing the Choctaw slaves, and they then joined the party and moved forward.
At this time, the Cherokee National Council passed a resolution authorizing Captain John Drew to head an 87-man militia to seek out and capture those participating in the revolt. The militia caught up to the group north of the Red River, just 7 miles from the southern border of Indian Territory.
Hannibal, that's your story.
Yeah, and I noticed one thing. You notice that they didn't say they were black or African. They said just a group of slaves. So it was a mixed bunch. It was natives that was enslaved. You get what I mean? So maybe some Upper Creeks, maybe some Cherokee that was against what they were saying. You get what I mean? And it goes even deeper than that, because the Moorish connection is with the McIntosh family. You get what I mean? Because their last name is McIntosh Moore, M-O-H-R, from Germany. And then when you dig into their roots, they do come, they say they descend from those who came from Egypt through Spain. So this goes even deeper than, that's the connection, what we've been seeing. You know what I'm saying? I ain't gonna say it goes deeper than what we thought, because we've been saying it. You get what I mean?
See, the other thing is, like, once again, we got kind of cut off, but the term civilized, right? When you break that down, the root of it is civil, right? Well, ain't none of them doing anything civil. So for the modern mind perceives civilization as something that comes from Europe.
Yeah, they try
And
to
they
teach.
went-
Hey man, I had a white professor try to preach that to me at Morgan State University. I had a white professor try to teach me that at Clark University. I'm like, man, clearly you don't know history, sir.
Correct. But you see how the hijack is. It's very subtle. Let's say, it implies right? That there was no structure like a civilization here, just like when they brought Jesus here, it implies that there was no spiritual or religious relationship of the indigenous people at all.
Yeah, yeah. They came to civilize the indigenous people in their little mind, or at least that's the
Correct.
narrative that was painted. Truth be
Correct.
told, they came to get fed,
You
and
know what I
it's like helping a homeless person who all of a sudden, next thing you know, they trying to stab you after you done fed them.
here's part of the equation that we probably don't discuss. So just imagine these Scottish men going into the Creek Nation and the Cherokee Nation, Choctaw, and all these civilized, quote unquote, civilized nations, and getting wives and having children. So, but their other cousins were like officers in the British and the Spanish and these armies and these governments, right? So they basically was playing both sides of the field. So I'm married to this indigenous woman. So her land is my land. So I'm gonna take this land and shift it to my cousins. You get what I mean? And my cousin's them is working for King George of England and George Washington and them. So basically we can carve our own. You get what I mean? And because where they come from, they wasn't in the race in Scotland and Ireland.
Right.
You get what I mean? So now when they get here, okay, now we can be in the race. So that's why I want people to realize it wasn't the entire nation, but within these nations, you had mixed Scottish and mixed French people, mixed Spanish folks that were heading this betrayal within the nations. And that's where we find ourselves today when we look back. But you had one, what's his name? His name was Weatherford, and they called him. His name was William Weatherford of the Creek Nation. He was a mixed French, Spanish, or French and his mother was Muscovy, but he was French and Spanish or French or something. But he fought for the Red Sticks. So you had some that fought for their indigenous mothers, you get what I mean? But you had a majority of them that was for their fathers and their fathers' lineages, like the McIntoshes. And like I said, the McGilverys, because the McGilverys and McIntoshes are cousins. You know, so that's what we're dealing with. We're dealing with nepotism and things like that underneath, you know?
Right. Absolutely.
So we're talking about Chief John Ross. Say he was literally, put up this on here. John Ross was literally 1/8 Cherokee and appointed by no one in the overall tribe. Right? That's the thing with so when the Spanish came here, they left people here. You know, amongst the tribes. So before the other people like the Spanish, before the French and the English came, it was already a European seed already planted. You get what I mean? So when their contemporaries came, it just got even, you know what I'm saying? They was able to become traders and set up trading posts for the other ones coming.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying? The trading post was their way. That was their way going west and going south. Just making these one family or one man trading posts. So when we see them names like McGraw and Mick, that comes from MacDub. If you know anybody know about MacDub of I think it's Scotland. That was the Black King of Scotland. So any names like Douglas, McGilvery, McKinney, all these come from Black people from Scotland. His name was MacDub, MacDub. You can see pictures and sculptures of him. So that's why I get into, like I started off the show as saying, that why is it important to know the history? Because if you know anything about last names or surnames, the names actually detail what you did. You know what I'm saying? You had people that was like Swartzwelder, that was like a black welder or a blacksmith. You get what I mean? You got certain, your names was indicative of what you did.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, sir. Like, see, we got Macmillans in our family too. So the same thing go with Macmillan. Especially one of the famous ones that she wrote, The Waiting Is Hell. That's my cousin, her name Terry Macmillan.
Mm-hmm.
And she's from down, her family comes from Coosa, Alabama too.
Hey, Ghost.
There you go. Ghost acting. I don't know why you acting a fool. See, then, with that, someone said my cousins are McIntosh. So look into the genealogy, because McIntosh, he had brothers and stuff like that, but he also had enslaved people. Because I know that it's a record of him buying like 100 slaves for like $25,000. So a lot of them, when they got their freedom, they kept that surname. And, people say why they did it. I'm saying? I think it was a way to set clues for us in the future, telling us who did what they did to them. You get what I mean?
Yes.
You see what DJ Sweetness said, Donnie?
Yes. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. So give me 1 second. I'm gonna go sit down. And that's a decent map right there. I like to look at a lot of the old maps. I just seen a map today, and it showed Michigan as being a part of Massachusetts. Never heard of that. It showed Chicago being Connecticut. You get what I mean? Between 1629 and 1785.
Sweetness, I don't see it. Maybe you can put the link in the chat.
Yeah. But then, we got to think about Oklahoma too. So when they walked the Trail of Tears, a lot of us got heartstrings pulled. But you got to realize it was indigenous people there too. And the tribes went there and moved in on these people land too. So you got to study how these people felt. You know what I'm saying? They got new enemies, and a lot of them got new enemies, and a lot of them got new allies when they came out there.
Well, I told you, when Chief John Horse went out there from Florida, they got out there, and that was the main problem. His people were still getting captured by the slave catchers. And that's why he took the 200 families that fought all the way from Florida against the likes of Andrew Jackson, $20 Bill Jackson, and they went through Texas to Mexico.
Yeah, you got it. I think like I said, you got the Cherokee Nation in Mexico. You got the Creek Nation in Mexico. I know the Creek Nation's in a place called Nacimiento, Mexico.
That's the same place Chief John Horse was, Nacimiento.
Yeah, but they call them Mascogos down there. Mascogos, Mascogos.
Believe it or not, they actually celebrate Juneteenth there in Nacimiento.
Yeah. Yes, they do. So that's, a lot of people have, noticed that I think it was one of the comments of somebody said there's no pictures of slavery. And I think the modern day, a lot of us trying to basically like kind of whitewash history in a sense, trying to say that it didn't happen. And it did happen.
Yeah, and that's why this movement is important. What's even more important, this is just the opening act. What we really need, the opening salvo, as people like to say. What's next is, for me, Hannibal, people writing books, people doing actual archaeological research, people doing and publishing their research, and probably not just publishing it here in the U.S., but publishing it globally.
Right.
To correct the BS that's been shoved down our throats for 400 years.
Right.
Even down to the history of racism. I mean, if poor white people really look at it, they got more in common with black people than they do the 5 or 6 rich families. Like, America's about that paper. And when you look at how many whites came here as a result of indentured servitude, a slave is a slave. They were getting dubbed. You got no rights.
But even amongst the quote unquote white, the Irish person is considered black amongst them. They call it,
but some want to treat black people less than.
Right. I think that goes with that when they created the middle class, it created this buffer. So now I got a little something, a little bit more than you. I'm a little bit better. So that that just even our people do that in a sense. You get what I mean?
Bruh,
I got a little bit more.
There was this non-black addict in my alley. I just shared this story before. Eating out of a bag on the ground. On a Sunday morning, and Pharaoh's just barking. I said, "Hey, lady, what are you doing? You got to get out of the alley." She said, "Excuse me, but do you own this alley?" And I said, "Well, by golly, I do." And she proceeded to call me an effing N-word.
But like I said,
eating off the ground, lady.
She still felt like she was better than you.
Still felt some semblance of superiority from what you have been fed. So miseducation is not just the miseducation of the Negro. Oh no, it's the miseducation of the world. You ever had Indian people come here? 2, 3 of them. You walking down the street, they walking towards you. Some, not all. That's a blanket statement. But I've had encounters where there was this expectation like, you're less than me. You're supposed to move out the way. I'm the wrong one to play that with. I play dirty.
Right.
Don't do it. Don't do it. You're going to get your feelings hurt. I'm walking with my daughter down the harbor. A group of non-black people. I ain't saying no names. I said, you better not move. We're walking straight through the middle of it. Because some people have the expectation like, oh, I'm supposed to move? Bumped your damn head. You got the right one, baby. You got the right one. I told my daughter, you better not move. You got to know your value. The sun shine on me, just like it shine on you. What your mother tell you? Nobody's better than you, and you're not better than anybody else.
Right.
But know your worth. You know what my mother also said? My mother, she said, bring up your man, Horace Lee the Fourth.
Well done, Horace.
My mother said, I was about 3 years old.
Peace.
She said, don't come in here crying. Don't come in here crying. Horace, you got that memo. You got that memo as a little boy. Don't come in here crying.
That? Oh, yeah. Well, it's like the movie 300, man. You get thrown out there to the wolves.
Lily Glover wasn't raising no punks. She said, "Don't. You better fight." And she ain't say. I heard some people, mothers told them, "If you don't fight them, I'm gonna beat you." Now I ain't get that one, but she gave me that look. She ain't had to say it. Don't come in here crying. Fight.
I just look at it as I was in the 2nd grade when we got bused from out our neighborhood in Detroit to a predominantly white neighborhood, and it was people that was Mexican from the Middle East and all that. And I remember the adults being kind of upset that the children going down there because they thought things was going to be kind of like how it was in the South. But it turned out different because it was children. You get what I mean? Children don't act like adults with preconceived notions of what somebody did in the past or what they bet not do. You get what I mean? I think that we get thrown off. We have a goal, and then along that path, these little peripheral things set us away from the goal. You get what I mean? The goal is finding out what happened to us so it can never happen again. You know what I mean? So these other things come up to distract us, whether it's cultural, whether it's
Donald Trump.
right, all these things, whether current events. Look at what's going on across the world. The world is on fire right now. All this to distract you from what you need to do. You know, so if someone said it best, last show was a good show. While they at their next, get your stuff together. That's with anything. When people ain't paying attention to you, get your stuff together. Get your life together. Get your house in order. And that's what the time is right now. Get your house in order. And learn these things.
You know, one of the main reasons for the distractions is so the people won't realize that there is no money.
Right.
Hey, Horace, like I had a vision for your pyramids. You know what we need to go on the pyramids and do?
What's that?
We need to praise God on them pyramids.
When you say praise God, what do you mean?
You need to go on the pyramids and praise God. Have church.
God, I'm saying have church on the pyramid. No, not emphatically non-cipher, brother. We don't do church, man. On no pyramids, man. They already doing that.
You don't praise God?
Nah, man. It depends. Your concept
Well,
of
hold
God
up.
is
If these
thrown off.
pyramids ain't praising God, we gonna have to have a talk now.
I'm saying though, man. Like I say, your concept of God has been infiltrated.
No, it ain't. No. I know who woke me up this morning.
Well, Planet Wells, maybe he could better guide you than I can in that area.
God. I know who woke me this morning.
Okay, well, but we don't need to do that on the pyramids. Anything, we need to praise the ancestors and the source. You know, because that concept of God that you talking about comes from a European concept. Regardless of whether you want to all together, and then that's one of the issues.
How you know what my God represents?
Because what I'm saying, you would already understand what I'm talking about.
Okay.
Planet Wells, can I get Planet Wells on there?
Yeah. Well, in other words, the relationship of the religious perspective is that all of these different gods in modern religion, right? The participant of that particular sect of religion feels that it is their God, and even though they often come from the same root, right? So a spiritual perspective is that there is no one God that is over another. So that takes kind of the religious perspective completely out of the mix, right?
Right.
Because generally the way you define yourself is through your faith in your religion.
Right.
That's a that's a good explanation. And as far as the Muskogee, they call God Hisakita Misi. And that means the master of breath.
Mm.
So when we meditate,
did you see? Go ahead.
I'm saying when we meditate, Planet Wells always have us breathing and basically syncing ourselves with our breath. But then here's another thing going into some religious ideologies. And I'm not saying these are things I believe in. I'm just going to throw some religious ideologies spinning off that Hisakita Misi from the master of breath. So when you get into this, the children of Israel, they say YHWH, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they say that this guy was so arrogant that he put his name on how you breathe. So every time anybody breathes, you saying his name.
Mm-hmm.
So you get what I mean?
Yeah.
So this is what I'm saying, that when we get into religion and spirituality, It's two different things, but it's like a thin line. You get what I mean? You know, it ain't that the natives didn't believe in a higher being. They did. A lot of them did. You get what I mean?
Absolutely.
But it's what they did with everything else to make this come to life. You get what I mean? And that's what we're missing. You get what I mean? And that's what I'm missing, and I'm trying to find myself. You get what I mean?
Well, the one thing that every living being on Earth share is breath. So in Hawaii, when you greet someone, right, basically, you know, kind of put your forehead on the person's forehead, and you acknowledge the breath of both. Right, that's part of the, you know, so that's very much like what you were saying in terms of this Muskogee with that title. It's the shared breath of life. You know, so you know the religious perspective isolates things because you know how you going to get the you know the donations, the donation plate to go around. Right? So it usually, the donation plate is that you're part of a group that believes this one thing, right? So you fortify your scene, you know. But you know, it seems as though not seems, it is that the indigenous, right? Even when you see indigenous wars between each other, that's something that's on the surface. It doesn't go as deep into the spirit because they all know they share that.
Right. Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
see that, and see that's what I mean, because over here, our of what God is a concept that was put into our tribe's minds on these missions by these Franciscans and these Catholics. So even when we use the word God and then classify God as a he, and even the word church in itself, you know, comes from a European idealism that doesn't have anything to do with spirituality in the sense when we want to separate it through semantics. I mean, I understand what Donnie's saying, but if you're going thinking that you're praising some God that's sitting up in the sky somewhere, then that's not what source is. You see, just in the words of the Honorable Prophet Noble Drew Ali, he said, "A man's ideal is his God, and as man unfolds, his God unfolds. A man's God today, tomorrow is not God."
Well, man writes with a script. You know, God, if you will, writes with nature.
True indeed.
So
Exactly.
all indigenous people before this mass invasion all over the planet were related to the knowledge of studying nature,
True indeed.
right?
And that's what people call it, what the secrets of the Most High. You get what I mean? It's learning how nature moves. You know what I'm saying? And
Right.
like with anything, everything is natural. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
We talk about the natural and the artificial. You get what I mean? I think it's
So
you
a
know.
lot of times when we
I'm sorry.
go ahead, I'm sorry. When we go with this disdain for the feminine, well, if we really look at what that means, is that there's a desire to control the feminine, the feminine nature, but yet when we say nature, we say mother nature. Well, that's feminine, that's a feminine aspect,
Right.
So if you have a root problem with the feminine, you have a root problem with nature.
Yeah, yeah. And see, we've been so we so deeply embedded indoctrinated that we can't even let go of the he concept.
Yeah.
Knowing
Right.
damn well that God in his intrinsic nature could never be male. In
Right.
a sense, you know what I'm saying, agenda that is not with the mitochondrial DNA being the actual mother of all living creatures, but we can't even. Anytime you say God, you automatically think he, or just like when
Well,
we were
well
talking, like when you say crackhead, a drug dealer, you all automatically think of a black man. You know what I'm saying?
I think
It's
it's
no
well,
both.
different.
I think it's something that both species have to bow down to.
yeah,
What you mean by that?
exactly.
I mean that the
Male
Most
and
High
female.
is higher than man and woman.
Right.
Well,
There's
yeah, I
no
mean,
way
if
that
in the technicalities, but the female always was first, regardless,
no, but
because because you can't. There's no such thing as a Y egg in nature. There's no
oh,
such thing.
I'm saying that everybody on this planet and everything must submit to a higher being, to a higher end.
Shit,
You
even
know,
atheists.
I'm talking about everything within everything got a design.
Everybody.
Everything. It got a season to live and a season to die. And
Well,
it's
yeah, I
nothing
mean, but
on
that,
here. It's nothing on earth that improved that is beyond the master that designed it.
yeah, but
Nothing
see
on earth.
that's all rhetoric, man, to me, because that's just like going to the beach and telling somebody, oh man, it's 1,563 grains of sand right there. You'll never know how many grains of sand is at the beach. So to be sitting up contemplating or putting a definite number on the grains of sand just shows that. See, that's when you study Sufism, you'll realize that there is no way to conceptualize what you consider a master to be, because that's what you consider it to be.
No, I'm just saying that we all in this game of life. Everything
Right.
is here, from the leaves, trees, and everything in this game of life, and everything has its place. But when we talk about a higher being or a higher consciousness or however you want to describe
Right.
it can't be one closer to it than the other.
Correct. Well,
It
I
can't
like
be.
I like to
Can't be
use
more closer.
the I like
I
the
see. I see what you're saying. I
I,
understand. No,
I
yeah,
like
no.
to
In
use
other words, the male can't be closer than the female. Blah blah blah. That what you're
Right.
saying?
Yeah.
I I like I like to
Yes and
utilize
no.
I like to utilize the idea of an electric light. You need equal degrees of both the positive and the negative for the light to go on.
Sure indeed.
I agree with that. But to understand what a negative and positive means is what we uncovering.
Mm-hmm.
If I
Exactly.
may add, you know what I'm saying. So to understand what the divine feminine source is, we're not talking about necessarily a female. We saying
Correct.
divine feminine as a source energy. So the
Correct.
feminine energy manifests into the physical reality as female,
Sure
but
indeed.
Mm-hmm.
a masculine man also has divine feminine energy. This is why
Right.
a man can tap into his spirituality, that can tap into his emotions and things of that sort. So this is where we get the whole male versus female concept, because those men who wanted to be women desired the power of a woman. This is why they killed the matriarchy and killed the presence of the divine feminine and the
That's right.
energy, to invert that into a masculine patriarchal concept. So
But let, yeah,
yeah. So that all in itself is not balanced.
Correct.
yeah. It creates a real imbalance, because even when you dive into the arts, what they call magic, whether it be white or black, two women can do magic in a circle. A man and a woman can do magic in a circle, but two men cannot do magic in a circle together. You know
Right.
what I'm saying? It is an imbalance, and they could inflict death upon themselves. So now, how is it that two women can do it, or a man and a woman, or a woman and a child, but two men can't do it?
But that's the same thing when you get into like parthogenesis. How can a woman be parthogenic and not a man? Because we
Right.
don't have
Right.
that ability. We don't have that ability to
Yeah.
carry that through in the physical realm. So this is where you want to take that away from the person who has. It's like, okay, I can get up and use my legs today, but the man in the wheelchair, he can't.
He can't. Right.
Right.
Yeah. 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 So I understand where Hannibal coming from, as you know, in the degree there is no higher than the other in a sense, but in a sense that's still incorrect because the female is always going to be higher. Yeah,
And this
she's always going to be higher. That's just the reality of it.
and that's what they inserted in our culture to want that equality, because in all actuality, everyone is not made equal, and everyone's
Right.
nature is not another's nature. I could have a water nature and I love surfing and diving, but someone else could have an air nature where they love skydiving and mountain
Right.
climbing. You know what I'm saying? Someone else could have a land nature where they love agriculture and hunting. So one's nature, and like you say, one's idol of what God is not to another. This is where we get different religious practices that spawn different thoughts and cultures.
So
Right.
I see this as a provocative comment. He say, somebody say, DJ ZPE 6260 say, men must ascend the throne of consciousness. And that's what I said before that last. Remember, I was talking to you. I think I was talking to you, Mafia, about the chakra system that the Indians be having that red dot on their head,
Mm-hmm.
and this represents the pineal gland. And you got the lower chakra that the growing, then you got chakras coming up. So I think that's the throne of consciousness to be able to ascend to here and to be able to go out. You get what I mean? And that goes
Absolutely.
from holding your ejaculations and stuff like that, not having sex and stuff, and ascending. You get what I mean?
Yeah, semen retention is a great practice, and it's just also it's alignment. It's alignment. It's being aligned with yourself. That's why they say the knowledge of self is important, because you have to know what these chakras mean to you, what your sacral chakra and what that means to you, what your root energy is, what your crown chakra is. And that comes with alignment and balance. That's why, you can lean into the astrology aspect to have a greater understanding of yourself, the astrological concept, which deals with the moon cycles and the sun cycles, lunar and solar cycles. And this is how they recorded time, as well as how they recorded the knowledge of oneself through the alignment of the stars. So then we also dealing with, when we talk about the divine feminine presence, we talking about the nature of the mother, which is mother nature's, because things are fruitful from the mother. She
Mm-hmm.
produces, you know what I'm saying? She produces life in a multitude of ways. So that is also an aspect of aligning. That's why they changed the time and the camera. We got the calendar. We got to change the time twice a year. The calendar days change. You know what I'm saying? And things of that sort.
Added months to the years,
Right.
just everything was to throw us off. And so when we start speaking of God, see, our people are still under the impression that there's some spiritual being that's in a physical form, but not in the physical form, somewhere in the sky, looking down on us, judging us. You see what I'm saying? But like I had said previously, we worship their God. They don't worship our God, and neither do we. And I think that might went over a few people's heads, because I made that statement, offline to some people, and their first thing was, "Oh, it's only one God." But I'm saying, well, there's no way in the world that we could be worshiping our God and our God handling us the way that He's doing, nah, or she's doing. So that in itself is common sense, but our concepts has been all thrown off since they came on our land on what the spiritual source is.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I think by these invaders, or these traders or invaders that took this ancient teachings and the sacred knowledge and wisdom and shared it with those people that they wanted to control. It was taught in a controlling or submissive aspect in
Key
order.
word is control.
Yes,
Control. Yeah.
yeah.
But
It was
think about it.
taught
They
in
say
that
they want a God. They want a God-fearing man. Why would you want to fear?
aspect.
You know, because think about it. You're scared of God. You're scared of the devil. You're scared of the police. You're scared of the government. You know, God damn, ain't you tired of being scared?
Yeah,
Living
fear.
in fear? You
Yeah,
scared of
fear is a
everybody.
real thing. I just
Yeah, man,
think
scared of, yeah. Go
shout
ahead,
out
bro.
to sister Yaya 777. She just made a short reel on that. She always speaks on wisdom teaching. She said, I don't want no God fearing man. You know what I'm saying? In that
Yeah.
sense, because once you understand that, then you don't have to live under the fear mongering that comes through the media, that comes through education, that comes through socialism. You know what I'm saying? That comes through politics. All of these things are institutionalized to perpetuate the fear among the people.
Yeah, man.
And
But look how strong it is, though, man. It's strong.
well, under the layer of the English language and the programming of the habit um, on the planet right now that's been here for a minute, right? A lot of things are disguised, but the reality is that what we're talking about here is the same thing Donnie's talking about. But you just have to peel off the layer of the spell of English.
Mhm.
I agree with you. I most definitely agree with you. But
Yeah.
see, I want Donnie to understand, because even though we may be talking about the same thing he's talking about, he may not be talking about the same thing we're talking about to his degree of what he think God is, if you understand where I'm coming from. Because see, when you know better, that's just like I would never say that, oh man, we need to, worship God and have church, because I understand the significance of those particular words, as well as what they really, really mean in depth. You understand what I'm trying to say?
Well,
You-
yeah. Go ahead.
it's three things that bring men to war. If you guys understand, it's their religious ideologies,
Hmm.
their money,
Hmm.
and their women. Them were
Hmm.
three main things that would send men to war all the time.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? And it's not, it's not the politics. It's their religious beliefs. The politics goes is a outward expression of the religious beliefs. If you get what I mean, we live in a quote unquote Christian society where Christianity is the undertone to basically everything that we're doing here. You get what I mean?
Indeed.
From the words we speaking and
Hmm.
and the ideologies that we done gathered. I think that a lot of us believe that a lot of others might not conceive what God is, or what then happened to us. I think that a lot of people need a higher being to believe in order to deal with what the inner workings of this earth. So that's why I really don't really get into another man's beliefs, because it might hinder me later on. You get what I mean? So I
Yeah,
Well,
don't.
but
to each his own
belief,
at the end of the day.
yeah, to each his own. Like, and I'm gonna
Yeah.
touch on something both of y'all said. It's the it's the in between. Politics is the in between of the war and the religion, and this is where you get to assert yourself where people might not want you to assert yourself. So I think um it's a collective of these things that we expressing. And to what Horst was saying, I think we in the process of us uncovering these things, I think we are also in a learning curve of how to express these things. So as we come into further knowledge, we have to choose to express what we mean from a higher knowledge and not just a commonality of expression. You know, like when we say God or higher power, you know, we could say nature, or we could say water, or we could say airborne, things to describe exactly what we're saying. It's like how we say civilized tribes. So we know we talking about uncivilized tribes. So we would say, one would say the uncivilized tribes in which we talking about to describe certain things. So I think terminology and coming into that as a whole helps us grow as a whole as well. So it's
And I
not
think
necessarily
Absolutely.
yeah,
attacking
and I
somebody's belief.
yeah, and I think that Clarence 13X was essential, especially if you study what he brought wholeheartedly, because see, a lot of people study stuff and they don't study wholeheartedly, and then they revert back. We look like well, my homegirl down in Georgia, her mother raised her, and she was raised in the Nation of Islam, but now she's a Jehovah's Witness. See what I'm saying? So you be like, damn, how could you possibly get deep into the sciences and those teachings, and then go back over here where Charles Taze Russell created something of a Jehovah's Witness thing? But Clarence 13X was so powerful in what he brought, as well as the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, as well as Noble Drew Ali. Noble Drew Ali said, "Know thyself and Allah." Honorable Elijah Muhammad said that man, the black man, the woman, and child is God. The same thing that Putin said of the Father God Allah, Clarence 13X. So when they had let us know arm, leg, arm, head, but then we turn around and then we try to conceptualize God as if it's somewhere in the sky, then I think that for some strange reason we missed the mark when we got into the sciences of what those elders were teaching us.
Absolutely. To add on to that, it's a responsibility to know God. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
To know yourself is a responsibility. It has the weight. But if I can revert to something that puts that weight and responsibility of myself on something else, then that relieves me of that. I can live in a lower vibrational state because I don't carry that weight of myself with me.
True indeed. True indeed. That make a lot of sense. I never even thought of it like that, man. You know, everybody need a scapegoat.
Yeah.
You know.
And also a strength, and also a strengthener. Also a strengthener. I think when we say, you know, certain biblical texts have a little bit of the truth in it as well, and this is what the spirit or your soul self connects to, that keeps you in the little pieces of it that you get. You get little pieces of it that keep you connected to it, and that the lack of responsibility for yourself keep you attached to it.
Yeah.
I think DJ ZPE 6260 says it best. It's a deep rabbit hole. It's a deep hole, and you know, if you want to journey down a hole, you'll find many things to uncover. You know, this. So I'm gonna fill Mafia in about the episode. So tonight we started an episode about slave revolts in the Cherokee Nation. I think you heard that conversation, Horace. And we were talking about in 1842 that 25 slaves, in which they mentioned, they never said it was African or whatever, said slaves fled from out of Oklahoma heading towards Mexico. And they met up with 17 Muskogee or Creek slaves that was running away along the way. And this guy named Captain Drew caught them. And they killed some, they caught some children or whatever. But they did this as a way so slaves wouldn't be running to hide amongst the indigenous nations. You know, and then we started talking about quote unquote civilized nations. And this civilized meant that they were doing the things that these settlers were doing. You get what I mean? Right. They had their religious beliefs, they had slaves, they was owning plantations now. They weren't about the land was owned by the collective, they was more about the land being owned by individuals. So these So these families like the Van family, the Ross family, these families are the McIntosh family and the Creek Nation. These families were more in line with what the Europeans or these European nations. Because when we say European, we think about white. But I want our people and our viewers to think of more of a collective like we got here, because it was Black people there, Moors, it was people from the Middle East, Arab people there, it was Caucasians, it was a mixture of all these races there. So this is what we talked about earlier before you got on, Mafia. You know.
Yeah,
So I got a quick question. Hannibal.
Yes, sir.
So now I'm pretty sure that y'all saw that picture I sent y'all a couple of hours ago, right, from Oklahoma.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So now, as you can see, the billboard said Muskogee Creek Nation. So now, okay, that was right before I got there. But the next town that I was driving into was Muskogee, Oklahoma. So now they got the Creek Casino. They got the Muskogee this, the Muskogee that. So I stopped and I got out, and I was curious. So I went into the little gas station, with the little Indian stuff up there, and those Muskogee people in there didn't look like us.
No, that's gonna be the ones that's more. So when they went out there, they was McIntosh's descendants. So they was already mixed people. You know what I mean? So
they look like the Siberian Mexican looking people that they claim that they this, that, and other. But I'm like, damn, but see, they got casinos, they got hotels, they got gas stations.
And then as far as the Muskogee concerned, they all Muskogee because they could trace their mother back to that mother from the Wind clan, no matter if they white on the surface or not. You get what I mean? That's how the natives, the indigenous do it. You know, they say if this is your mother, you one of us.
So that does that make them inclusive in with the indigenous people of the land?
What you mean by that? I'm saying if so, in order to be part of a tribe, majority of the tribes, you're part of it because of the mother. Now, if you white later on because you decided or you're a different race later on because your ancestors decided to amalgamate, that don't take your indigenous roots away from you.
But this is where the war comes from, because in order for them to get those gas stations and things, they had to align with these colonizers from different territories, whether it's French or Dutch or Spanish or whichever one it was.
Shit, they had to be civilized. Shit.
Yeah, that was the ones who did that. Who did what we did to us back in 1832? The ones who walked out there. So they being recognized by this country, so they able to get casinos and get these benefits and stuff to open these things. The Muskogee Nation is the richest of the Indian tribes. They get more money than the Cherokee.
So the organic people of the land, the 9 ether beings from the land that haven't been amalgamated into with the nations of Europe, because I was looking at the one where I forgot what tribe it was, but they was getting a hard time of being accepted into a tribe that they were originally organic to in the first place before the watered down process came.
I just within them nations you're talking about, they out there. The original ones, they there with them, but they don't know their history because they being labeled as freedmen. You get what I mean? They being labeled as freedmen, and they taking the perspective that, okay, yeah, I was enslaved. So in being enslaved, that comes with the story that you came on the ship. Not the story that you was a native tribe that these Cherokee, these mixed Cherokee, Creeks, Choctaws, or whatever captured you and then enslaved you. You get what I mean? Most of us.
I tell you one thing, brothers. With all of the confusion, the rhetoric, the mumbo jumbo, man, we got to be some hell of a lovers of the people to know who we are, man, to even want to still think that there's hope. Because we're dealing with infiltrations, We dealing with people that get out and, you know, push the Black Power movement, but then they run back to their European masters and tell them everything that's going on. We dealing with the paper genocide, this, that, and other. So, man, it's something that still keeps, man, the people wholeheartedly trying to push forward. But I mean, just think about it, man. You got a whole group of people up there in Oklahoma, and they doing good
Oh
on
yeah.
our land.
Oh
You
yeah.
know, while
That's
we still trying to figure out, man, how can we do what?
Well,
Yeah.
when we look at the mound builders, the Olmecs, and the Mayans, we see that the shamans, or the spiritual faction of the culture, of which the culture relied on, right, was focused quite intensely on time and the rotation of the heavens, right? So they understood time. So when you say that, what you say, well, what does that mean? Well, they had calendars, right, that went 1,000,000 years, right, and more. You know, they did things called batoons, and their ages. So they were clocking the ages, right? So this blemish that has happened is very, very recent in terms of time. Very recent. And you can see that the existing uh, uh, controlling forces, right, are crumbling, right? They're crumbling based on time because they're not sustainable. Now we look at it like, damn, this shit need to change tonight,
Right.
right? Because we're
Right.
not accepting time the same way, right? I'm not saying that they didn't fight, but I'm saying that they had a knowledge of time that we don't, right? So you know, I'm attempting to embrace what they deemed important, and it clearly to me, from because, you know, like I said, my background is art and art history and stuff like that. So I'm focused on their art, and their art, like I said, is so embraced with time and cycles. And back to the the matriarch uh, gathering, is that would also be directly related to an aspect of time, or, like, you know, where the planets are at that particular moment to do the ritual. You know, it's all ingrained, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, it's the aspect of alignment, like we was
There you
speaking
go.
on earlier. Like you say, if we can align with time, then we can align, and we can align with nature, and we can align with oneself. This is the Trinity aspect of spirituality in its works, and how you can practice that through these aspects of self.
And one
And you
thing
know,
about putting your hands in nature, meaning farming and stuff like that, is you inherently um, understand time, because you have to know, you know, when it's going to rain, when it's going to this, da 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 da, when to plant, when not to plant. So it's all about time,
Hmm.
and you can do everything in the world to make that seed come up out of the ground faster. Everything, you could do all kind of stuff, but it ain't gonna happen. because it's on a cosmic time.
Right.
Right.
Because this is a planet that is in out Earth space, just like Venus, just like Pluto, just like Mars. We are part of a continuum.
Planet. Right.
Hey, not to switch gears, but when I be saying what I be saying about the mounds and them destroying them and putting garbage in them. Well, I was listening to Rod Hayes on one of the shows. The young brother
Mhm.
had hosted him on, and he said that when you have people on the land that destroy the land, they are indirectly destroying us at the same time.
Absolutely. Yeah, I've seen that with the brother. We are one with nature, and this is the whole distortion. We are one with nature in a physical sense, in a spiritual sense, in an emotional sense,
Yeah.
and a financial sense. This is why they came to raid the lands and the territory, because we were so wealthy without the system aspect of it. So once they put us into the system, now our true sense of what wealth is distorted, just like our sense of spirituality is distorted. Our sense of family and tribalism is distorted.
True indeed.
And nature always comes back.
Right.
Yeah, that's
Nature's
what.
gonna it's gonna
And
clean itself.
there's very, very, very little gold, platinum, diamonds, any of it that has left the planet. It's still here. It may
And
have
it's so much right
changed
here too.
forms. It may have changed forms a little, but it's still here.
Some of it's in us, right?
Absolutely.
And
It's still here.
it's so much on this land beneath our feet right here in
Mhm.
America that we are not gonna know until, like you said, that season comes for it to be revealed.
Correct.
But they
So if
keep finding little bitty nuggets here and there, so they know if they find some tiny nuggets, it got to be some big nuggets somewhere. But they been here 500 years, they can't find the big nuggets.
but I think if one really intelligently looks at it, you can clearly see, certainly I can, that it's their thing is crumbling.
Yeah,
So we're in the age of that shift. So if we can align ourselves, as Mafia was saying, with that current of truth and nature, and be aware of study this as much as you can, the cycles and the evolution of this great creation, right? You can work with the energy. So in terms of the idea that they're killing us, well, I'm not in that us. They ain't killing me, right? Because life is life. I connect myself to life, that energy, right? So you do what you do while you're here, but in terms of the essence of a being, no, they don't have that power. And don't give them that power.
true indeed.
Gentlemen, we've been doing this show since August, mid-August, and we've shared a lot of perspectives. Until tonight, I had never really sensed that I was in the wrong place. But when Horus stated that my God is a Eurocentric God, or forgot how he put it, I just want to say to you, Horus, you don't know who I worship. I worship the one God that made you, that made me, that made every human being on this planet, that made the earth, the planets, the stars, the sky, the moon, the water. That God, whatever God you want to, whatever name you want to give it, that's who I serve. And if I were to go to a pyramid, that's who I would be worshiping. Yes, I pay homage to the ancestors, but I have all due respect, all due praise and worship to the Almighty Creator who made everything. everybody. And I was insulted to be associated with the Eurocentric perspective on who God is. I've shared
No,
on
I
this
didn't say
show.
that yours, not yours in particular. Donnie,
Well,
you have to realize, man.
I don't know what gives you the right to categorize me at all.
No, I wasn't categorizing you. I was saying in general. I said the people, our people on this land. You know, our concept of what God is. If we could have came back 800 years ago and asked our ancestors about this God or this Jesus or any other deity that they had brought over here, they would not know what we were talking about at those particular times.
Big brother, I wasn't back there and you weren't either. We don't know what they were talking. We got an
Okay.
idea. We have a sense.
Okay. All right, brother. You know,
I
all right.
mean,
Well,
do
you
you
know,
know
hey, if
something that I don't know? Do you communicate with some beings that the rest of us don't?
no, sir, but I just say that my concept of God is different from the majority of people that have been indoctrinated of what God is, because people say, well, God woke me up this morning. That's an ideal. You see what I'm saying? And I wasn't going against you in particular. You know, I'm just saying our concepts. You know, if you listen to Bobby Hemmett, and Bobby Hemmett goes back into when he speaks on the ancient sciences, we always try to morph the ancient sciences into our concepts of modern when they're two distinct things.
If you died in your sleep and didn't wake up this morning, if I died in my sleep and didn't wake up this morning, we're gone. I woke up this morning. Thank you, God. That's
I
what
mean,
I know. That's what I do. I'm not going to say thank you, Donnie, because the power of life and death is not in my hand. Some of it, but not the almighty. I don't give life. I can make life.
Yeah, well, you know, man, I hope one day you understand it wasn't a personal attack, but I hope maybe one day you will understand where I'm coming from as opposed to what you're feeling right now.
I felt associated with a Eurocentric perspective of God, one that was associated with a male anthropomorphic view. When I've shared on this show that when I went to the Middle East, I learned of their reflection on God as a woman from a birth, giving life perspective. So I don't know how you could have come up with that about me.
Nah, man, I already said it wasn't about you in general, man. I was just speaking in general, man, not you specifically. I'm saying in general, man. I had a conversation all the time with people when they use the term God. You know, I tend to be a little when you know calculus and somebody starts speaking ABCs or 1, 2, 3s, then you start thinking in terms of calculus. I could have related to you on your level, but when you said go on the mound and have church, that threw me off. You know what I'm saying? Especially when I say
simply praising the creator of the universe. And if it's wrong to praise the creator of the universe any and everywhere, then I guess I'm on the wrong page.
No, I think it's just the further studies of what creation is all in itself, because the periodic table is made up of many elements, but these many elements are what we call an amalgamation of creation in itself. So we dealing with the god of water is a water god. The god of agriculture is an earth god. You know what I'm saying? The war of the god of air is the air god. Then we have these like we say, the translation from one generation or one era or 1,000 years, every part of time, the translations are different according to the people customs who are receiving the information. So when we go to these other countries and we understand their culture and their spiritual practices, we talking about the origin in which these things come from. See, when we talking about indigenous and indigeneity and these things, all of these are children of the source in which it originated to give these things ideology and culture to carry through the times. It's like being on opposite sides of the spectrum, but saying the same thing. So the unification of spirituality and one and religion is the unification of the division of that spiritual one.
Yeah,
But when
I
we
done had
talk
too many
about when we
miracles
talk,
happen in my life with God and snatched me out the throes of death. I know there's a good God and an awesome God, an ever-watching God, ubiquitous God. Call it what you want. Call him what you call her, whatever you want. I know there's a God from lived experience, not from church, not from the mosque, not from Niem Nyeho Renge Kyo, from life. I done had that pistol in my face. Had that near miss, just like that. I know I'm a miracle.
No, I understand. I understand that.
well, I like to say with that source that Donnie is referring to, didn't go to Walmart to make Donnie. Didn't go to Sears to make me. Didn't go to J.C. Penney to make Hannibal. Didn't go to didn't cash in green stamps to make Mafia, right? Didn't go to the corner store to make Horace, right? So it seems to me that source took from itself. Contemplate that one. So what does that make you?
I don't think it's pride getting in the way. It's knowing who I am. And if you know who
Yeah,
you
no,
are
I
and who
got
you
you.
are, I'm not responding to you. Actually, to Craig R. I
Okay.
think when you know who you are, you better walk in that confidence, bruh.
Mm-hmm.
I've been too close to death too many times to know that there's something supernatural, and I ain't pushing that on nobody. Believe what you want. I know what I
No,
believe.
no, absolutely. I think we all understand that, Donnie. I think it's the separation from that supernatural that causes the confusion. The religious mindset creates separation from source as opposed to the oneness of that. You know what I'm saying? So I don't think we disagree with your faith in a sense. It's just the
I didn't really hear
ideology.
your perspective on it. I'm unclear. I know what Har said, and he clarified it. I'm not sure what, because I know I missed a lot. I needed to step out. I'm not sure what you're zeroing in on in particular.
No, I'm just saying, and the concept of God in itself as a source creation. If we're talking about the Most High and the creation of source in itself as a deity,
See,
I'm
you
just
losing
saying
me
that
when you say all of these fancy words right there. Are you talking about the creator of the universe?
but what creator of the universe are we talking about? That's why I was using
Whoever
the
it is that created it, whatever
but that
entity created this universe, that's who I worship, that's who I praise.
but
Because
that's
I
what I'm
presume
saying.
the good favor and good fortune that has befallen me is due to something good and kind and beautiful and loving and forgiving and all of those good things.
I
That's what I
understand that.
believe. And I'm not pushing that on you or anybody else. Believe what you want, but you cannot on any day of the week tell me what I am to believe in or categorize my beliefs in any kind of way because you don't know me like that.
No, I was just saying I think we understand that. I think it's just the knowledge base of what that creation is. You know what I'm saying? Like
I just
and
explained it. Whoever
no,
created the universe,
but
whatever
that's
entity
but that's a
created the universe,
that's what I'm
do
saying.
you
That's the
think there were
blanket.
more than one creator of the universe?
Exactly. Creation is a multitude of things. Like I'm saying, if you use the periodic table as
No,
a
I'm asking you a specific question. Do you believe that there was one creator of this universe or more
no,
than one?
more than one creator. Creator is a multitude, a variety of
Well,
creation.
you have the right to believe what you want, but what you
Right.
cannot do is tell me what I am to believe in or to categorize my belief in any kind of way, because you don't know me. And
No.
we do share some things in common. Believe what you want, and I'm open to learn. But after 60 years, it better. Some things I can, the Americas, the pyramids, the mounds, all of these things, wonderful. Now, if you're going to tell me that the creator of the universe that I have been worshiping for 60 years don't exist, so that's probably where the conversation ends, because I'm not trying to convince you of anything in that regard. Believe what you want.
Can I ask a question?
Please.
See, when we use the word belief as opposed to knowing, so when you know something, there's no need to believe it.
If you heard my earlier comments, I said, based on the miracles that have happened in my life, I know there is a God, a good God, a gracious God, a merciful and loving God. And that's me. Believe what you want. I don't know.
Mhm.
I wasn't there in your shoes for 50 some years. I wasn't. But I've been in these shoes, and I know what's gotten me through to the day. And I'm not ashamed of that God. Call him what you want. Allah, Jesus, Yahweh, Jarastafari, Akzeber, whatever.
A lot. Tiamat.
Raheru
What-
Kahuti,
Whatever.
Yeah.
Unkulu Kulu.
Whatever.
Whatever.
Right. That's what I think we all saying though. That's all I was
See, you
saying.
keep speaking for we, and I'm just hearing you. I mean, those guys, I haven't
No,
heard them.
because we all discuss the same thing. Like we all have. I talk with these guys regularly about the same
As
thing.
do
So
I.
so what I'm saying is
As do I.
we have a similar understanding on that level. That's all I was saying, and we spoke about it on this show as we talking. That's all I'm saying.
As have I.
See, Donnie, when Noble Ali and Adam Elijah Muhammad came on the scene, as well as Malachi Z. York, Brother Bobby Hemmett, Dr. Reverend Phil Valentine, Father God Allah, Clarence 13X. What they did was they brought us the sciences of the source that sort of eliminated the spookism of what we were told God was on the missions when the Europeans came to our land. Because see, before they got here, we well understood that there was a higher source. It would be sort of impractical to think that it isn't a higher source. But in the words of Ibn al-Arabi, the most renowned Sufi, is that if man wastes his time trying to conceptualize something infinite. So I'm not trying to take away what you believe in the infinity, but when you conceptualize it into one category, just like the same Sufi said that when there's nothing else exists outside of God. So when you bow down to pray, who is it that you're praying to other than yourself? Or like the Holy Quran of Mecca says that Allah says that I'm closer to you than your own jugular vein. See, they taught us that the spookism God, and I'm not saying that there's no higher power. No, I would never tell
Well, how
anybody
can you tell me that's what I believe in a spook?
No, I didn't say you. I'm just talking, man. I didn't say you, man. I'm saying in general. I'm saying that what our elders who were outside the box and unorthodox teachings of what the Europeans taught us, they taught us something different in regards to what we were taught for political reasons. See, they taught us a concept of God because they know we're spiritual people by nature. That's the only thing I'm saying. I could have just said, okay, I'm cool with it. I'll go with the God church thing for the sake of not being technical. But
We
I
could
get
do
sort
a
of thrown
mosque
off.
up there. It could be, when I think of God, I wouldn't put any one book on your pyramids. Just God, call God whatever you want to call. What would you do? Would you play drums? Would you just stand there? Would you walk around it like 7 times? In Islam, what is your idea?
My ideal of a ritual or my ideal of God?
An idea. You said go to these pyramids. You have said
Oh
that.
no, I'm falling in line with what Planet Whale said, and go to these mounds and take your shoes off and hit that bowl, play that music,
Play what
chant
music?
those.
Play what music?
Man, Frankie Beverly and Mays is some of my favorite.
I'm fine with Frankie Beverly and Mays.
Oh, you don't like Frankie Beverly and Mays?
No, he does.
I love
Oh,
Frankie
okay.
Beverly and Mays.
Yeah, Frankie Beverly and Mays would be some of my Isley Brothers. You
Okay.
know, some
All right.
Jill Scott.
All right. I'm all right with that.
Yeah.
Ori Shabazz said a good comment. Said Malcolm X said about beliefs in God and religion is the area to be avoided in most circles. Then he said, I concede to bro Malcolm X. And I do too. That's what I said, that our belief systems and what we believe in the Most High is different. And when we get to start talking into the particulars, it divides because certain people is taught certain things, or certain people learn certain things over their life that they believe that others might not be privy to. And that's where we kind of, like I said, a goalpost be here, but then we get distracted. You get what I mean? About certain things. You get what I mean? This thing is deeper. We all know that is, we saying that it's a higher entity, but we getting into the semantics about it. You get what I mean? A man's belief is his beliefs. You get what I mean? Believe in God, I believe in God. You know what I'm saying?
In the words of Planet Whales, God didn't go to Walmart
Right.
to
That's what I'm
create
saying.
anybody. He created that. God created us of itself, which means that we are God.
Right. Even the ones that we hate. Even the ones that's enemies is created in the image of that Most High.
Well, you know what? They said that God didn't create man in its image. Man created God in its image. Because you can never get me to think that the God that our enemy worship is our God. That's where we'll draw the line at. That's not my God. So that sort of
No, I ain't saying, what I'm saying is that it's a God over everything. It's one supreme. Not it's one over everything, no matter if you believe in it or not.
Well, I mean, see that right there in itself. I'm with Mafia when it comes to many. You know what I'm saying? That just saying that one, the monotheistic, our people never drew off of monotheism.
But I
that
think
thought process comes from Akhenaten.
But I think that it's like, okay, so let me go ahead and prove to you that it's not me saying it, that there's no sense to proving to a man that this is the attributes of God when a man already has his beliefs in the attributes of God. You get what I mean?
Right. Yeah, but we're not
like
dealing
a waste
with
of time.
Yeah, it's a waste of time in a sense of what people receive from it. But if we talking about indigeneity and we talking about ancient sciences and history, this is the difference in between a knowledge base and a belief set. That's where it comes. That's where it comes tomatoes and tomatoes, because it's a personal choice to believe in something. But when we talking about knowledge and we talking about information, that comes from a certain source, and it has an identity that comes along with that feeds the culture of what you choose. And it's a personal choice.
Yeah. This is a beautiful conversation, and I hope I haven't created an enemy based on my concept, but that demon that's been murdering and slaughtering my people for the past 500 years, I don't know what God he worship, but I don't worship that God. So if they try to make me think that there's one God and that God,
that ain't God. That ain't God. God don't have you murdering, butchering, raping, blowing up yourself and other people. That ain't good. That ain't God.
But see, now in the Bible, it said that God told the people to go down into the land and kill everything, even the animals, and take their
Yeah,
land from
well,
them.
yeah, well.
Okay. Now
Religion we know has been used for political purposes. Religion
my
has been pimped by political people. Look at the chessboard. You got the king, the queen, and the bishops right there. And the bishops were murderers. The bishops were the biggest murderers, no different than the caliphs, the caliphates. It was
And the
Christians against the
pedophiles.
Muslims. But hell, in India, you got the Indians, you got the Sikhs and the Hindus. And what's it really over? Land. And see, here's the most important piece. We can say we believe this, and this, okay, blah, blah, blah. How do you treat people? Because that, to me, is the real currency. How you treat people.
Yeah, that's true. That's the truth.
now my mother, Elma Lolita DeVerges Jones. Every time I would go on the second floor from partying in Manhattan, I would see my mother kneeling on the floor with her hands on the bed, praying or reading the Bible. Okay, that Bible. Okay.
Astaghfirullah.
Now, no one can tell me that her intention was so pure to protect her baby boy. I don't give a fuck what she was reading. Okay? She transformed it with her love for me. All right? So let's not get confused. Okay? There are all types of systems, all types of beliefs, all types of all of that. But it is the intention of a person can transform any evil. Any. So if you have a pure heart, of which I believe Donnie has a pure heart, I believe Mafia has a pure heart. I believe Horus has a pure heart.
Inshallah.
I believe, without question, Hannibal has a pure heart.
Inshallah.
So hence, that's what I focus on.
And we believe you have a pure heart, Planet Wells. Ashe.
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 Yeah, you got if you're gonna play Frankie Beverly on the Pyramids, you got to play We Are One.
Oh no, man! That's my go. That's my go-to.
But you got to start it off with Running Away. As long as you started off with Running Away and you play We Are One, I'm good.
But that golden time of the day got to be in there too.
The golden type of day. Yeah, that right there, man.
Joy and pain got to be on.
Southern Girls, damn it. You got to play real. Southern Girls and you got to play California.
You hear me, Mafia? You hear me? I know
California. Boy, that beat on that Look at California.
Look at California.
But it was another one that
the live version of Look at California.
That somebody had played, and I had to go and type it in because I had forgot all about that particular song by Frankie Beverly and Mays, and I can't even remember which one it was.
Beautiful people.
You know the one. You know the one. Absolutely.
But see that's where see our strength, because we got ancestors, man, that go all the way back 5, 10, 20 million years. And they exist within our DNA. Hold on for a minute.
And the Mayans charted time longer than that.
DJ Sweetness, why don't you stop pussyfooting around and go
What's
and
up,
ask the
brother?
man on a date?
Huh?
Wasn't he out that way recently?
No, I'm about to leave and when my break is over in like 10 minutes. That's okay, brother.
Sweetness, why don't you stop pussyfooting around? And no, I'm not married.
Well, yeah, I'm about to leave. I'm
I
just
was
making a 30
married.
minutes. Thank you, brother. Yes, sir. You too. I'm about to leave.
Now I gotta ask y'all. This is a bit of a diversion for the sake of our mental health.
Okay.
It's a totally different topic. So this is for the sake of keeping the peace. But Ori is a boxing expert. And I'm gonna share on this show that I was a Canelo fan. I'm still a Canelo fan, but he was a serious Bud Crawford fan. Who were you rooting for in that fight, Planet?
I don't even know what you're talking about.
Okay, how about you, Mafia?
Yeah, I didn't have a dog in that fight either.
Really?
Yeah, the last fight I
Harsh?
saw was Tank Davis.
Man,
Harsh, Bud Crawford.
Man, I was rooting for the Bears, man. So I mean, I don't know, brother.
Oh, the fight is long gone. I thought y'all might have
I'm
been
not even
boxing
here.
enthusiasts. How about you, Hannibal?
I used to be into
Bless your
sports,
heart,
but
sweetness.
I'm detached now. You know, my focus on other things now.
Well, Ori was right, and I just want to say publicly that I'm still a Canelo fan, but I thank God that Bud didn't knock him out. Anyway, I didn't mean to hijack your show. DJ Sweet, hey, where ours keep going? Oh, y'all gonna do a date or what? I mean,
but you see that coming for you, man.
Yeah, we're gonna go to Golden Corral.
Paternally white, black perspective.
You see where we at, Hannibal?
Come on in here, James Earl Cash. We love people like you. Let's put the link in there.
We going to Golden Corral, man.
You ain't going no daggone. You better not take that lady no daggone Golden Corral.
I'm just saying though, that's for starters, man. What's wrong with Golden Corral?
The best first date is to go swimming. The best first date is to go swimming.
I ain't never heard of that one, man.
Yes, sir. That way we get rid of all of the fake stuff. Keep it 100.
Yeah, no, I could dig that though.
They makeup long, yeah, right? Okay.
Yeah, just keep it 100. This is what we working with.
Okay.
Yeah, he was pushing this fight yesterday. Oh, he's predicting that Shakur Stevenson will beat Teofimo Lopez. Okay, that's his latest prediction. A lot of comments in the chat. DZP, DJ Z, forgive me, DJ Z. If I knew your name, because you got all these letters and numbers, and I tell you, if I ain't got my glasses. Okay, find their strength and fiend weakness to draw out their arrogance. Canelo almost lost his job. Canelo, hey, I thank God Bud didn't knock him out because he was on his way. Bud gave him a lot of respect. Bud earned a lot of points in my book because he could have knocked him out, and he didn't do that, and he could have. That's a champion, because a lot of cats we go for the kill, murder, and Bud gave his record respect. I'll never forget that. Oh, she's just fine with Golden Corral. Oh, but you're gonna be taking 3. You got 2 daughters? Okay. Get your make sure you got your overtime pay, Harsh. Find this. Okay, we did that one already. Okay. DJ Z, I'm as good with my hands as with my feet, as with my words. I don't watch. I do. All right, well, y'all been rolling nearing the 2-hour mark. What we doing, Harsh?
And we're almost close to that 2 hour mark and stuff.
Planner, you gonna hit the bell? You gonna rock the
Sure.
bell?
Okay.
Oh, she wanna cook. Hold up. Guess I can't fry him no chicken when he comes back to the shop. Ooh. Hannibal, wasn't you talking about somebody with 2 wives early in the show?
I wasn't talking. Can't recall that.
Yeah, you was. You said
You don't recall that.
that man in history, slave owner. The slave owner. He had 2 wives and all of these slaves. You said it.
I'm up here thinking about horrors and the fried chicken.
I
I'm thinking just,
don't think that's ours. I think it's screen frozen. If that's you, ours, that ain't you. Is it?
think of horrors coming back.
Got to keep it entertaining up in here.
Yes, sir.
Absolutely. Okay, so we're ready for the bell.
Yes,
She
sir.
said, I made chicken and dumplings today. Horace
Sound
Lee
good.
is not worried about me.
I know that's right. Okay.
Okay.
So let's do our connection.
I just want to say I like the okra, the fried okra at Golden Corral.
Okay, so let's take a breath and get comfortable and flow with the energy. And let's resonate deep in the system of our being that we're all connected to, devoted to, that source that is known by multiple names that brings us the only peace that we ever going to get. All right.
Ashe.
Ashe.
Shay. Hmm. Yeah. Well, that peace is you in your innermost core. That is you. You know, we're in these bodies, but that peace is you.
Gratitude.
I
Yeah.
guess y'all ready for the libations? Is that what it is?
Yes, sir.
All right, so I got my laptop up today. I'm gonna try to do this. We'll
Where are you
start
now,
off by
Hans?
giving.
Stay on the road there,
No,
brother. Please.
I got it. I got it. I'm in
Okay.
I'm in Milford, Texas.
Okay.
Yeah, Milford, Texas. I'm headed to San Marcos. I think it's down here by San Antonio.
Okay.
Yeah, but want to start out by giving honors to the Honorable Prophet Noble Drew Ali, the great Queen Neitha of Chicago, Illinois, the most honorable Empress Vidayasi, the most honorable Empress Chief Redbird, the
Ashe.
most honorable Chief Warhorse, the
Mhm.
honorable Kimba Vita of the Congo, Dr. Francis C. Welsing, Dr. Arikana. Give me a second, brothers. Hold on. Let me allow. Okay, here we go. Sister Shahrazad Ali,
Ashe.
the late great Ashada Shakur,
Ashe.
Angela Davis, Mama T, Sister Vicky Dillard, Dr. Joy DeGrew.
Ashe.
Give me a hot second here, brothers. Let me move this thing down here. Okay, there we go. Dr. Joy DeGrew.
Ashe.
Did I say Sister Vicky Dillard, Mama T,
Ashe.
the sister on YouTube by the name of LaChris, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, Malcolm Malik El Shabazz, the Honorable Dr. Khalid Abdul Muhammad, Dr. Delbert Blair, the Honorable Taj Tariq Bey, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, also Dr. G as well, the Honorable Dr. Claude Anderson, Son Ra.
Ashe.
Give me a second, brother. Let me move this thing here, man. Let's see if I can move it like this. Hold on here. So I'm trying to do this while I'm driving here too, brothers. All right, here we go. Patrice Lumumba, Professor
Ashe.
P.L.O. Lumumba, the late great C. Freeman Hill, the most honorable Dr. Malachi Z. York, Jay Guevara, the honorable Dr. Martin Luther King, Omali Yesatila, Julius Malema, President Ibrahim Traore, Julius Malema, General Barbecue, the beloved brother Bobby Hemmett, and Dr. Reverend Phil Valentine, Nellie Fuller, Fred Hampton, Clarence 13X,
Ashe.
almost at the mark. Hold on, bro. Okay, Dr. Booker T. Coleman, Rod Hayes, Young Elder, Dr. Ray Hagan, Steve Coakley, Billy Carson, 19 Keys, Dan Calloway, Karimio Ahua, Rizza Islam, the legendary Top Cats, my man over at Taylor House Publishing, Dr. Sebi, Leah Laha Africa, Yaki Awakening, King Randall, Free Rashad Jamal,
Ashe.
the beloved and honorable brother Donnie Glover for providing us with this platform for us to reach our people.
Ashe.
The honorable Elder Planet Wells for spiritual guidance during these troublesome times. The honorable and the beloved brother Hannibal James for his knowledgeable insight on genealogy and so forth. The honorable and beloved young, wise, and intelligent brother Mafia Shakur for his wise and intelligent knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. I want to send a special shout out to the sister Secrete Balance, as well as all of our viewers who are 100%. on our team in this monumental movement here on Turtle Island without any questions asked. Ashe.
Horace Lee the fourth.
Originally the
Fourth,
four.
three to fourth. I say.
Appreciate it, brother. Hey, how many cats y'all know, man, can read an honors list from a
No,
laptop
look,
while they're
man.
driving an
No,
18-wheeler?
I know you got superpowers now. Don't. No, well, I can see that.
Oh man.
I can see that because
Yeah,
you know
I didn't want
if
to. I
that
didn't
was
want to. I
me,
didn't want to recite it from memory today, man. I
if
wanted to read it from the
if that
list.
was me behind the wheel, the animals, the small children, and everybody else should worry.
Oh yeah, well yeah. Luckily, man, I got through it
Shoot.
that time. But next time, I'll be poured over. But I was just my clock is running out, so I gotta
Yeah.
make it the way I'm going before it goes to zero. That's all.
No, wonderful, man. Wonderful. Just stay
Family,
safe.
what we witnessed tonight is exactly why this series exists. We came together with different experiences, different names for the creator, different paths, but the same hunger for truth about who we are. Whether you call it God, the Most High, the Grand Architect, or the Great Spirit, or something entirely different. What matters is that we're doing this work. We're questioning, as Horace pointed out, all of the things that we've been told and indoctrinated into over the past 500 years. We're researching, and the young people are researching like never before. We're connecting the dots between our ancestors' wisdom and our lived experiences today. Hannibal brought the receipts with the 1830 treaty. Horace challenged us to think deeper about doctrine versus divinity. And all of you in the chat brought your personal testimonies, and that is real. It's the kind of honesty that moves us forward. Here's what we know. Our ancestors knew who they were before anyone else named them. They had systems, spirituality, and sovereignty that worked in harmony with nature, not against it, as Mafia points out all the time. And no matter what happened in between then and now, that knowledge is still in us. It's in our DNA. It's in these conversations. Remember who you are isn't just the catchy title, it's the assignment. And we're doing that work together every show. We'll be back Tuesday, 8 p.m. For the team, good evening, world.
I say.
I say.